I didn't realize that until I did it. I was like jangling keys around like an asshole. You're
That
like,
works.
could you just not?
That's fine. Oh shit, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing out there? This is Intergalactic Interviews, and this is episode 144. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How you doing? Did you have a fantastic week? I had a pretty damn good week. Did you have a good week, C-Mart?
Pretty decent. Yeah.
Today's show is a special crew episode. We haven't done one of these for a little while, and it just kind of seemed fair with all the crazy shit that's going on right now. Obviously, right off the top, did you watch the fight on Saturday?
Definitely did. Yeah.
We generally watch the fights together, but
Like watching Connor win. A round. Maybe. Not even.
Look at this guy. What do you feel about that? I saw one judge gave Connor he gave Floyd 8-1 in 9 rounds. What the fuck? Like, think about this. If it actually did end up going the extra 2 rounds to a 12-round decision.
The extra 2?
No,
you mean the normal
Think
2?
about this. It's actually in boxing's best interest that it ended in like a finalized finish.
Absolutely.
If it went to the cards,
you're right.
I've been thinking about this. If it went to the cards, they would have had to seriously address a massive corruption issue. Do you think that there would have been massive outcry?
Well, I don't understand why that would be the case.
I don't see how you watch that fight, and I've watched it twice now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't see how you
Put in
watch
the time.
I'm trying to make sure I'm correct in my assumption. I don't see how you couldn't give Connor at least the first 4. I would say even 4 was debatable. You could probably give him, but the first 3 for sure are Connor.
But give means that. Do you think that Mayweather also gave him those rounds?
No, I don't. I don't think a competitor at that level has ever stood in the
I thought he was doing
in the ring.
Things very safely.
That's Mayweather's style, though. He always starts off very slow. He feels out his opponent, and he brings you into deep water and finishes you.
So isn't that what he
or
did
doesn't
with...
finish you, but outpoints the fuck out of you.
But isn't that what we saw with McGregor?
I think what we saw is a fighter, an MMA fighter with some question marks in his stamina, not able to comprehend the deep waters that Mayweather brought him into. The defensive strategy employed by Mayweather generally against other boxers who have similar styles or even different styles is something that is very difficult for Connor to overcome. I think analyzing it from that point of view, I think it makes sense. All these people I'm reading today, all these people coming out of the woodwork like, told you so, told you it was going to be like this. I just want to be I just want to smack him and be like,
that's not a hot take.
No, it's not at all. You know what? I want to smack him so hard because I want to be like,
but that's just you normally with internet commentators.
Yeah, that's true. But hear me out. Why would I listen to someone who's risked nothing, has 0 to show for it, and only has pure criticism with no moral or credibility to go with it? Like, seriously, why would you listen to someone like that? That is an absolute fucking nightmare for me. And I get caught in these comments. People tag me and shit all the time. And they're always like, hey, what do you think of Connor? Connor bitched out in round 10. I'm like, bitched out. Is that the right verb you want to use? He bitched out. He did something that's never been done before. Do you think, like, in gladiator days, like, you fight a lion, you get mortally wounded, you die 2 weeks later, but the whole time in the hospital, you got, Sir Fuckface of Fuck.
Oh, the hospital of the Roman Empire.
Or,
someone's bed.
Hospice.
No, I'm just joking.
Or whatever the fuck.
They
You know what I'm saying?
hospitals.
If you're your bed maiden or whatever.
Yeah.
But do you think they had to deal with all that shit?
They definitely did.
That bothers me so much.
They definitely did.
Like legit warriors have to deal with some guys like, oh, he let him win. Are you a fucking idiot from Sideways Planet? Fuck your entire life. And everything about you is
Flat
dumb.
Earth Planet?
Oh yeah.
That's Sideways Planet, I assume.
That was pretty good. Last week was pretty fun. Was that last week or with?
It always comes up.
It does come up, but 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks ago with Nat Jack from Lucid Afterlife, and you were like, you're like, well, it doesn't matter because the Earth is flat.
I feel like I always shittily inject it in.
I think at first he thought you were serious, and then we kind of had to explain it a bit. But,
well, it's sad that when someone says that, you must look at them and go, "Are you being serious?"
I saw Kyle McDonald. Speaking of our favorite flat earther,
yeah, I like that guy.
Though. I love that guy. I think we send way more positive things about him than criticism on the show. But I'll say this: I've been seeing him post some pretty crazy shit again recently. I think he almost should come back on.
Yeah, I mean, would he come back on?
I've been thinking about it a lot.
I don't know, man. I don't know if he would.
I think he'd come back on.
I don't think we got along.
I think he was our best views and overall engagement we've had in the last year. And I think people want to know what's going on in the mind of someone like that. Because again, he's a brilliant guy, but some of his comments regarding Charlottesville's past few weeks.
No.
Yeah, it's like, but he's taking it like, don't accept the lies, man. They're blinding you out there. Like they're really. He's taking it to task, and I'm pretty interested to hear.
But he wasn't like a Sandy Hook guy, though, was he?
Oh, I don't know. That's something we should have asked him. We got to get him back on. We got to ask him. You know what we should do? Let's right now, quick shorthand right now. You and I right now, quick. Let's develop 5 topics that we want to ask him. Okay, so really quick. Sandy Hook for sure. Okay, like
apparently Charlottesville, which needs to be somehow addressed.
Sandy Hook, I think for people out there that may not know, is the conspiracy theory is that no one died. It was
all actors.
It was a government psyop. No children died. No teachers died, kind of thing. That was which
would be fucking impressive.
If they pulled that off, it'd be insane. But like, we're talking about the amount of payoff you'd have to keep everyone on board with that. I don't think it's likely.
I'd also like to talk about something that I didn't get to bring up, which was how. So let's say you have all the answers and you've figured it out.
Have you been listening to this show? Because that's our motif.
Yeah, that's us. But what I mean is that, okay, so let's say you've got, maybe I've said this, and I apologize if I have brought it up on the podcast before, but like, okay, so you figured out flat Earth is real. You figured out whatever crazy conspiracy theory, and ultimately, it requires like an unusually high amount of thousands of years of conspiracy.
Right.
If you figured that out, I don't want to be around you because they're about to erase you from the planet.
Okay.
Because what would be how can you exist?
You're right.
They'd have to delete you.
You're absolutely right.
And so I'd like to know how he's allowed to just like cruise around, how they are all allowed to just like spout the truth.
That's
what's the angle?
You know what? That's a really good point, C-Mart. It really is. If you were that close to the truth, quote unquote, you would be a dangerous individual to be around. That's an absolute fucking fact because
you just have to be quashed, right? Like they let less stuff go in China.
That's something they never want to talk about, hey? Like if you were actually that close to the truth, what's happening? I gotta lean forward.
I'm just gonna.
If you were that close to the truth, you're absolutely right. You would just be erased. They
would erased, not just like killed. They'd have to erase you from the history of the world. Like
you'd be like Will Smith in Enemy of the State.
It just doesn't make sense. Very similar.
You ever watch that?
I have seen that movie more than once, actually.
I can't remember if he goes against Robert Duvall in that or if it's...
I honestly don't remember either.
I can't remember, but great film.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah. Will Smith plays Will Smith.
Speaking of good films, I watched Baby Driver recently.
Fuck.
It was good.
Bro, fuck everything about what you're about to tell me.
Really? It was solid.
Go ahead. Lay it out for me.
I'm just saying I liked it.
Hold on, wait. I might be fucking this up with Boss Baby.
Boss Baby?
Yeah, hold on, wait. Was this an animated film?
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, it's like, I don't even know the actor. I don't even know Edgar Wright, something Wright.
Oh, wasn't
He's done like Shaun of the Dead.
The Madman guy was in there.
Yeah.
John Hamm.
Yeah, he's in it.
John Hamm's in. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's great.
Did you like it?
I thought it was very, very fun. I really recommend it.
This is way different than what I thought you were telling. I thought you were telling me that fucking, what's his name? SNL, the Alec Baldwin. I thought you were talking about his new, like, the baby's a boss and it's animated.
I am not familiar with that.
I can't believe the amount of money they sunk into a piece of shit like that. Garbage.
That surprises you?
Well,
not this particular project, but
not at all, actually. Nothing surprises me anymore.
That's not true.
That's true. I'm surprised every fucking day.
You are
especially by mouth-breathing fucking Connor haters.
You're surprised by people on the internet,
daily,
which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's true. I get pretty upset with
why. Okay, question.
Okay,
why are you reading that shit? Like, why are you reading that? Like, okay, the first couple comments.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm whatever. And then you read a few more and you realize, oh yeah, the internet sucks and it's annoying and stupid. And these people don't know what they're talking. And then you keep reading to the point where you want to comment, and then you keep reading, and then you comment. Why? Why?
The amount of times people have approached me in real life and been like, hey, I never comment, I never like, I never do anything, but just so you know, you commenting against blah, blah, blah group is like the funniest thing.
And so you're a social justice warrior.
In the most opposite way, because I just do it for the comedy. I don't give a shit about any of their causes or anything. Okay. I think what bugs me the most recently is the amount of people that are just like last word freaks that just have to.
Sure, yeah.
Oh my God, fucking bothers me. I was observing a thread about veterans that are against Antifa.
Okay.
And people are listening at home. Antifa is this anti-fascist group, and
ostensibly,
yes, and veterans are obviously former military members, regardless of your country, right?
Yeah.
So I think they have a pretty unique perspective on that. In fact, I take their perspective much more into light than I take, an unorganized group of people at best, right?
Sure.
Balaclava it up and shit. So I look at that and I go, that's pretty, it's pretty stark contrast in personalities. Of course, this is going to draw out very interesting things. So I find that...
I don't know enough about Antifa to really comment too closely on them.
I just know...
But, yeah. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Anyway, so I'm reading this stuff, and this guy is telling veterans, okay, this poster, I couldn't believe the shit I was reading. Mm-hmm. This guy's telling veterans that his grandpa fought the good fight, and he's fighting it right now by telling them that Antifa is the best thing to happen in the world. And these veterans are like, look, you have no idea what you're talking about. We have actually served in multiple tours. And multiple people are like, dude, how could you say this? And then he's calling them cowards for not stepping up and doing something. And someone has to point out to this fucking guy that, look, being on the internet and
having an opinion
doesn't do anything. Like, it doesn't fucking do it. Like, when's the last time you did? And then he's like, I was at the rally. I got tear gassed. How about you? They're doing it for the wrong fucking reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I do think showing up on some level, as long as you're not inciting violence and not doing whatever, I think that is important.
I think showing up is
like, that's kind of how stuff
gets done.
I've never done it. Like, lots of people, most people don't do it.
Never attended a rally?
No. I've never done that.
Never burned a cross?
No, I have not done that.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah. I've burned campfires.
Those are hateful questions. It's like, there used to be an old joke way back in the day. Like, if you wanted to discredit someone in a conversation, you would say, honestly, I'm talking like 1930s fucking old shtick. It used to be an old joke where you'd say...
Oh, back when you're from, yeah.
Back when I was a young lad. No, but seriously, I remember reading about this. You used to say in the middle of a conversation like this, you'd be like, oh yeah? Like, someone asks you something embarrassing, like, oh yeah, you ever burn a cross? You're like, I don't know. How many times have you ever beat your wife? And just, yeah.
Jesus.
Because the implication was like, you don't. So it's an embarrassing thing to suggest, because just the implication of which is almost as bad as, anything. So in the context of our conversation, obviously we're fucking around here. But like the idea that like that line of questioning is so dangerous, it kind of ties into this shit, because people are like wildly accusing, some pretty righteous people. Well, like, I don't know. It's
so
fucked
my
up.
Thoughts lately have just been about like how it's definitely an ideological, like, first of all, there's race and a bunch of bullshit, which is, it's got to go. But in that, there's like shitty ideological things that, like, I feel like almost better history lessons would help us navigate these waters. Like, I'm not even a crazy, I'm not educated at all really in history beyond high school, and then my own endless Wikipedia searches, which is not exactly, not really credible.
Somehow
but, like,
I keep getting back to Germany.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like, I've been listening to this podcast called 12 Rulers of the Byzantine Empire.
12 Rulers of the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah, and it's all about, you can guess, about 12 rulers of the Byzantine Empire.
Is that with a network, a specific network?
No, it's just on. honestly, the site that you have to go to is really slow on my iPad, so I just use the podcast app. I'm not sure what.
Which one?
Just the stock podcast app, which I only learned about recently. Anyway, I've been listening to it, and
do you know you can get Intergalactic interviews right now, ladies and gentlemen, from that same.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
But the point is that I just listening to it. It's like the Byzantine Empire is known for like political intrigue and maneuverings and some shit, but they're actually like they're bigger than that. But at the same time, so many countless schisms and ideological things split the empire, or either physically or just like the church. This is how we got the Holy Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire. This is how there's Orthodoxy and Catholicism. Anyway,
it's fascinating.
The point is that like I don't think we're at a point like that, but this is what happens sometimes over time. Is we get these fucking crazy assholes on whatever side or both sides, or it's not both sides. That are just like we're in a weird tough bind, and it
I struggle with when people instantly demonize one side. So I am not an apologist for people out there that are condemning things. I like to say it like this. I can't believe I had to say this earlier this week, but I am anti-Nazi. I can't believe you have to even say that in these days.
But you do.
But I'm anti-Nazi. I'm also anti-violence. I'm also pro-human. I think if it's violent, we should sell tickets to it.
I'm pro-endangered species, but yeah, go.
Are you?
Oh, yeah. Okay. There's a mountain or a rare like snow leopard, and you got to take the L on that.
Bro, did you just equate the safe space of a gender fluid person to a snow lion? How dare you?
Rare snow leopard, yeah.
It's a trigender pyrofox, and you should have respect.
Don't.
To be honest with you, though, the idea that one group somehow is always edging for the moral high ground is fucking gross. It gets us nowhere. You know what really sucks is I heard Bryan Cranston say this the other day, this actor. You know him from Breaking Bad and...
Oh, the show I haven't seen? Yeah, I definitely know that.
Well, he's Bryan Cranston. He's fucking amazing. But anyway, he's done multiple films and stuff. Anyway, he had his point the other day, I heard, and it was just like, look, if you're an opposite view of me, let's say Republican, Democrat, something like that, whatever side you're on. If
often the case anyway.
Yeah, like right, but like in this binary political system that we've kind of set up, even in Canada with
they've set up it, yeah.
Yeah, but like even a multi-party
conservative
system,
liberal.
Right, it comes down to it a lot, right? So what happens though is even if you on the other side of the aisle have a great idea, and I agree with it, I'm on the other side. I can't support you because of this stupid team that I'm a part of.
Yeah. Team sports is dumb.
Which is fucking dumb. And I think that in and of itself is like probably one of the worst things right now in our political structure.
2 parties doesn't make sense. Like, that's one of my most favorite things about non-American politics, stuff that kind of has stemmed either from the British system, which has its flaws, whatever. And I'm not so familiar with it to claim any kind of superiority, but I do appreciate that parties come and go.
Yeah.
Like, we had that fucking Canadian Alliance. Like, you can just start a party and do a thing.
Well, and the Canadian Alliance was an offshoot of the Reform Party.
Yep.
And the
my point is that, like,
political conservatives.
We didn't have people willing to take to the streets. And if we did, it was short-lived to, like, oh, the Reform Party is how I identify as a human being. My entire family must, like, no, that's not a thing. Like,
not at all.
There could be a new party, there could be a new movement, it could be whatever. You can, I don't know, I always think that's a little better.
I think that it should be individuals. I think you should have the system be merit-based, which it's not, and it should be individuals.
The party system ensures succession of ideas, though, which I like.
I think, I really mean this. I think that they should have, like, I don't know, an abolishment of parties and just have individuals. I think at first the idea of parties was great because it put everyone on an equal playing field. And like there used to be
it's how you
5 to 6
it becomes
major
a party
parties.
Whether or not you like it or not, right?
Right. But you know what I'm saying? There used to be like 5 or 6 major parties in Canada. And now you're looking at like 3 at best. With
you're going to ignore the Bloc Québécois?
Yeah, they're very...
I know, I'm joking.
That's crazy if you think about the fact that they almost took over. That is fucking crazy. Like... And they had their points.
Sure,
They're defeated democratically. And I remember standing with Canada and feeling like I just want...
Yeah, I voted anytime I was able to vote in that way to like prevent secession or like whatever, I would definitely put my vote there.
Because you don't want them to separate. You want Canada to be one piece, you know?
Yeah.
But like that motion to defeat it was so peacefully done for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, FLQ notwithstanding, but
yeah. I mean, what are you going to do there? You know, that's tough. But the difference, I think, is if I struggle how to talk about this because I've seen people we know demonized for this shit, and I don't want it to be misconstrued. I think if you watch the show or you listen to us at all, you know that we're pretty entertaining. I think we're not like
I'm shaking my head. I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty low brow.
You are.
I'm medium okay. But like what I'm trying to say is like we try to have a good time. It's not usually a serious show. But I will say it does kind of bother me when I see people taking such hard lines on who can be violent and who can't be, because the thing about that is even if the righteous violent people are righteous to start off with, it always corrupts. It always goes negative, and it will always be usurped by those who are going to use that as a vehicle to destroy what is actually commonplace. Like eventually what happens is groups like Antifa are doing the right thing right now. They're absolutely standing up for good values and what they feel is appropriate.
Until they go to like the Greek anarchist level,
right? Because like, and people are like, "Oh, that's not that we won't let that happen." Dude, it happens literally every time in history. It has never not happened. Every time a group seizes power through violent means, they'll do everything they can to stifle and suppress the other group. It happens every fucking time. So, like, in this case, the other group being Nazis, yes, fuck them all. Who the fuck would ever support Nazis? They're obviously pieces of shit. Like, if you have any kind of those views, fuck you forever, man. Like, that's gross. I got really upset when I watched the Charlottesville stuff, man. I was like, I actually cried by myself, and I felt fucking awful about it, man. It was like one of... You got to look into the face of some pretty pure hate. Watching that car plow into those people was fucking gross, man.
It's not even 100 years.
That's right. Think about that. And
no, that's what, like, even just history in general. You think it just takes so little time for ideas to come back, and that's what kind of
crawl back.
They come in this Byzantine show, and I've been listening to this other podcast, History of the Roman Empire. But the interesting part is that sometimes they reference the idea that when they have this new, like when Rome finally was no longer a republic, and there was now an emperor, by the time he came into power, he had been ruling for long enough that no one alive, like relatively alive, could remember a time without it.
Oh,
and so it was kind of like, well, yeah, sure. It's kind of the way it's been, because, you know, no one's reading and learning about.
That's crazy.
And so like this, it just kind of let it happen. Obviously, that's not 100% the way it worked, but for the most part, people were just, you're the emperor now. Even though they used to, if you ever... the idea of becoming a king of Rome was enough to get you just immediately executed by the entire populace.
Oh, of course.
And so, it's crazy to think that, you know, when people don't remember, again, with this history thing, when you don't have the accurate history, you don't have the information to spread and go, hey, we've been here before, or hey, this is what happened.
You're so bang on with that. When your original suggestion about having better education, but here's the thing. Okay, here's the first question I know for a fact would come up from both sides. Which education?
Who's teaching?
Yeah, who's teaching it?
Yeah.
So how do you solve that? Because I think
you'd have vigorous debate as well.
Right.
Maybe that's a better way. I don't know.
See, now that would be interesting, because if you were able to take rationalized ideas and be able to present them in a form, this is almost impossible to say out loud, but like rational ideas from both sides that
depends what you mean by both sides, but
right? And now everyone's assuming.
I mean, I think there's an accurate portrayal of
white supremacist shit and Antifa. That's not what I mean. I just mean in general. Whenever two sides are disagreeing like this, you need to have like
in a conflict
consensus on something. The consensus being that like, here, this is really difficult, but if you have to try to understand your enemy. You look at the Nazis and you're like, what is their fucking goal? Their goal, you'd think it is to like eradicate everything. I think that's pretty clear. They don't want to have anyone exist but their own superior race. Whereas like, I think probably some of the less hardline members in that group probably just want to get a cap on immigration or some
well, I mean,
crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
So like they get swept up in all the other stuff because you're with us or against us, like some crazy shit like that. And I think that those guys are just as fucking guilty. Like you got to be able to stand up for your principles and stuff. And I just don't see that happening. Then you see violence take over, and then people lose the moral right, because I think there's more people in the middle right now, in center. You know what I'm talking about? We got a time check.
Yeah, I'm just looking.
Oh, good. I think there's more people in the center right now that are kind of like fuck both of these sides a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like neither the left nor the right, I think, in their various extremes, and obviously one is worse, has presented particularly great cases for like being reasonable.
Nazis are fucking
but at the same time, I think it's not comparable though.
No,
right?
There's a false equivalency that is developed.
Like no one is soldiering images of Stalin around. No one is like Mao Zedong, and like no one is going to like extreme communism, which is the terrible left side of
you're right, absolutely,
of things. And no one's doing that.
But people are championing like Marxism.
Russia is obviously in a revisionist history time.
Absolutely.
But
you do see that though. You do see that though, that there are definitely members on the left side that are coming directly from a communist mind state.
Sure.
That are essentially trying to, I don't know, they're trying to grab the reins on something that's happening, and you could see it. There is like, I mean, you can talk to I don't know, if you could talk.
I don't know if I agree.
Well, I would say that it's pretty pervasive in the culture. Like here, just for home lesson real quick, the NDP, founded by Tommy Douglas, who invented our healthcare system here in Canada. Tommy Douglas also was a card-carrying member of the Canadian Communist Party, the CCP or whatever.
Sure.
That they changed their name to the New Democratic Party, and now they're this. Now, I have to say, I've voted NDP in the past.
Yep.
I didn't really know a lot about that in the history, but some of their values they've built on this foundation of these values to be like worker first, and like and that's beautiful. I definitely think that's an amazing thing. Again, I've supported them in the past. I think though, I would be remiss to think that like there are elements to that I didn't know, and I think that it's the potential for other people to infiltrate other groups, as noble as they may be, is there. How many times have you seen protest videos and people in balaclavas and whatnot, or bandanas tied around their face, throw bottles, break windows, anarchists, essentially. Anarchists that have nothing to do with...
People that have lost hockey games.
Right, exactly. People that have nothing to do with the gathering, the initial gathering.
Oh, yeah.
Show up.
Mob violence is a thing.
Right. And they create a police presence, essentially, that incites violence. And they look at it as like, we win another battle or something like that. But really, it's like it's drawing away from the focus. You see the same thing.
The thing is, it's not even, though, in the sense that, like, people are people, regardless of their affiliations. Like, mob violence, the ability to incite... I don't know why we're so fucking stupid that if you put 10,000 people together and you get some really brilliant speaker, you could probably incite anyone into, like, get swept up into a wave of, like, paranoia, of anarchy, like, of true destruction. So that to me,
it's weird,
that
right?
level, like, that's a humanity side of it that we just have capable of ourselves.
That's a major flaw of our species.
However, yeah, it sucks.
It's pretty bad.
However, one side is really good at it, and the other side sometimes does it. And usually for much more morally superior reasons. One side is hate, and the other is anger. Or some perceived anger. Just like, like Black Lives Matter, riots, like that was for a fucking purpose.
Certainly.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus like other things, that's just hate. And so, yes,
when you
on
say other
paper,
things, can you clarify?
Well, Charlottesville's a good example of like hate. That's hate.
From
the right, like from that's like those people that would like when they that was hate filled.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to there's a lot of pronouns being thrown around. I just want to specify.
But when viewed with the lens of a newspaper, or from whoever's telling you it, they appear the same, but they're not.
I see. Yeah, the false
you know what I mean? Like
it's
not fair to compare them at all. It's ridiculous.
No, of course not. And
I think that's where we get in trouble because we're gonna have somebody running down the street, throw a bottle at a police officer, hit him in the face, cut his neck, maybe he dies. Oh, it's the left, it's crazy, and it's like that was some crazy asshole in a rally, and there was but it wasn't Nazis marching in the street. You know, this is just a random
an
example
who made a crazy choice.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know that.
I see what you're saying.
And so I just don't think it's.
No, I see what you're saying.
It's important to know that.
Of course, I don't. Yeah. Here's the thing. I think we both agree there's a false equivalency.
Yeah, I don't think this is an argument.
The media is trying to develop this false equivalency, but I think.
Well, people are trying to push the false, and when we have people on, people when they lie, like to me, there's nothing more important than honesty right now.
It's important to be honest. I think
when people showed the Arizona rally for Trump or whatever,
I didn't see that.
It doesn't matter, but they posted a bunch of photos of it not being super full, and it's like that was from before everyone got there. That was from the
disingenuous
thing. Yeah, and it's just like, okay, just be honest.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking from the left, from like reasonable people. Like don't stoop to the level of of falsehood and dishonesty when they're just waiting to jump on it. They're going to do it themselves.
I know. That's what I'm trying to say. In the center of all this, literally, there's all these people. I almost consider myself more of a center person than any. Like
I would agree with that.
I find it hard to rationalize both sides. Like fuck Nazis forever, but fuck like punching people and sucker punching people and hitting them with like bats.
Whatever,
like mob violence, is that supposed to be? That's okay.
Nope.
I think the issue because I totally agree with you. There's a false equivalency being perpetuated. That it's you're right. They're not the same thing at all. But when violence enters into that equation, there's a significant issue where people are unable to get behind that. It doesn't matter what kind of walk of life you are. If you're advocating violence on somebody, it better be beyond a fucking reasonable. Like you tackled a person who was stealing a purse and they are holding the purse and you know it's not theirs. You beat the shit out of them.
Yeah. Or it's a rugby game.
Or it's, you score the extra 2 points, right? Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying, though, is like the idea that it should be beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I think in these mob groups, when you have these really emotionally charged groups clashing against each other, there's not a lot of room for rational decision-making. There's not a lot of room for critical thinking. And I think what happens is you just have these explosive elements just come into practice. And at that point, it doesn't... Here's the thing. As soon as the first punch is thrown, it doesn't really fucking matter. It doesn't really matter who's saying what to anyone because...
I mean, we've all been at like a...
Because we're not... we're watching it. Say we're watching from home. Like it's happening in another country or city. We're watching from home. We're just like, oh, this guy's getting jacked. What the fuck? And then we watch it and then we're like, that's crazy. There's never like... Oh, that guy threw the first punch. His morals were way superior to that other guy. It's so bullshit, man. I don't have time for it. Just like internet commenters that try to tell me that Connor isn't a goddamn warrior.
He's a warrior.
Losing my mind.
I feel like before the show we were more
joking.
lighthearted. I don't know. I thought we were going to talk about something else, and now it's been like 35 minutes. I think we got to do the Float House.
I think we got to do an ad for sure.
Yeah,
we started off laughing, so I'm comfortable with it, though. It's fine. We start off laughing.
It's fine.
The rugby joke was funny, too. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're near a computer right now, or maybe you're holding a phone in your hand, go ahead and browse.
AKA a computer.
That's right, any kind of computer. Go ahead and browse to floathouse.ca. What are you going to do when you get there? You're going to check out the premier isolation tank float experience in the Lower Mainland, and
go
now
float yourself right
expanding. There. That's right. Go float yourself, as the ad says on the video cam, but you can't read if you're listening. Float House is an amazing place. I personally really like it because you get your own private float tank, obviously, shower.
That's always the thing you bring up first is the private tank. Everyone's like, I hope.
Do you know how many times people ask me if you have to share? Like, it's kind of silly to me.
Is that your favorite thing?
That people ask?
No, is your favorite thing that it's a private float tank? I feel like you should be like, obviously it's a private float tank. My favorite thing is the knowledgeable staff.
Yeah, well, I switch it up usually.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys can see. I'm not reading anything. I definitely just mix it up as we say it. But like, yeah, I do like the knowledgeable staff. Everyone here is super smart. If you have any questions, they're very resourceful.
And just so nice and chill. That's what I like.
The amount of guests that leave here after doing a show with us that really comment on how kind everyone is like pretty astonishing. It's pretty awesome. I like
no rise out of them here.
No, it's pretty hard to. I mean, it's like basically like we always say, it's like a spa for your mind. And if you really want to try it out, check it out. You can use our podcast promo code IIPodcast, and that gets you 20% off your next float. Now, how fantastic would that be? I think it would be awesome if you use it because the quality of the float is superior, even though it's 20% off. It's not like when you get 20% off, say, grocery meat, and you got to say, oh, how long has this been sitting here?
Grocery? What other kind of meat are you getting?
That's a good adjective question.
Grocery meat.
Grocery meat.
like
could you just say meat?
It's a grocery meat. Is a deli different? I guess.
It's just like when you get 20% off basement meat. You're just like, ew, what the fuck?
My grandfather used to have his own sausage, essentially factory in his basement. So that would be basement meat.
It's traumatizing. Yeah, it is basement meat. Was it traumatizing for you as a kid?
No, but whenever I smell like smoked meat, I am immediately transported into like that house.
It's the smell of like sausage wrapping.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And 3 deep freezers filled with elk and like who knows what the fuck.
Back in my hometown, yeah, it's a deep freezers of elk, and they have like a moose shack where they like take anyway, fuck. Ladies and gentlemen, please go to Float House. Use our podcast promo code IIPodcast. Get 20% off your next float. Oh shit. I'm realizing now I need to get a haircut big time because when my beard gets this long, it starts getting into the corners of my mouth.
Is your hair longer than mine right now?
It's pretty long.
For you, it is a little long.
This is
I think it looks good though.
I haven't gone to my guy in like 2 or 3 weeks, so I usually
You guys have a falling out?
Yeah, it's always beef. It's not just the schedule.
Always some grocery meat between you.
Yeah, 20% off this grocery cut, or fuck you, you know. Grocery meat, hilarious. Actually, what do you got for me? I think we had put up some.
You just have some you have some inciting links.
Is this going to be more anger?
It's not more peace.
Wait, let's look at some Connor memes.
Okay.
Let's break it up a bit. I think we have to laugh for a minute. We have not seen any of these. Can viewers at home watch this?
Yep, it's on now.
All right. What is this? Show me a meme. What is this? Just click through them and then.
Oh, you want me to click on them?
Me going into 2017 versus 2017 at me. Just Connor eating a punch. That shit's lazy. Like, what the fuck? And I bet you, how many likes and retweets does that have?
I hope I can't know that.
This one's fucking. Connor, where are you taking me, Dad? Floyd, school, son. I'm taking you to school.
He's on the front of the Titanic.
Who'd ever think to put those two?
Why are they also together?
Oh, because Floyd kept turning around in the fight. Oh, that's actually that's clever.
But what does this secondary one do? Why is he anyway?
Taking him to boxing school, I guess. That's silly. Connor got hit so hard his snot came out like the Nike check.
Okay. What the fuck? That's just an odd one.
Yeah, that one's weird. What's this one? Mayweather's bodyguards walking him to school so he doesn't get bullied by that crazy Irish boy.
Okay, this is a counter meme.
The counter meme culture. Oh. Yeah, this is what I thought it was. Drederick Tatum and Homer Simpson.
Although, to be honest, did you notice, like, I think everyone noticed, so hot take over here, but Connor with his hands down was bugging me in the last round or two.
Because stamina issue, I think.
Yeah. First of all, professional boxer over here, so talking tough. But I was like, man, isn't that like a classic thing in boxing? Like you got to keep those hands up unless you're fucking Anderson Silva or something.
You know what's interesting is he was doing that in the Eddie Alvarez fight with his hands behind his back and with Chad Mendes.
A not boxing match?
Yeah, true enough. You're not wrong. You're right about that. But the idea though that he had his hands kept consistently dropping. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. It was pretty. What's this? I don't always win. Just kidding. Yes, I do. We can't show this footage, but I had Floyd on Snapchat and I was watching his victory party. It was just him, like 20 snaps in a row of him seriously,
I doubt it was just him
making it rain
on
like 20 women. I'm not even kidding. I can't even make.
Really?
I'll show you after because we can't put it on the thing here. I'll show you after. But it was just.
That's funny.
That's pretty insane, right? Like he's like, yo, I mean, which one of you has my Snapchat?
Isn't that what like you expect though? From like any top boxer?
Our street cam. Wave for the camera. There you go. There's our street camera.
Nice.
Hilarious. We haven't
used like smoking up, don't
we haven't used our street cam yet. These guys probably enjoying Vancouver smoke.
Yeah.
Enjoying themselves.
Pretty decent.
Allegedly.
Just casually hanging out.
Yeah.
Wondering what a podcast is about.
Yeah, for sure.
Vancouver Real, that
probably
isn't
think
us.
We're Vancouver Real. Yeah, for sure. They're like, hey, man, you guys are so kind to us. You guys look way different, though, in your photos.
Yeah, exactly. I used to like them.
Yeah, we got to get our banner up here, I think.
I know. We got to get something.
Mike and Andy Zaremba from Vancouver Real tell me every time. They're like, go ahead, dude. Put something up. They told me from day one to do it. I just felt it would be very invasive if we showed up like, we're putting up our own flag.
Well, yeah, I think day one makes sense as being invasive. I think episode 70 fucking whatever that we've done here might be a little more acceptable.
It's like 71 or 2 now, right? That we've
got to be. I mean, we're in 140 something, right?
144.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I came in at 70 something.
I think you came at 71.
Oh, okay.
Alex Sparling or no?
I don't remember any
of them.
your
first episode was with Theo from Gob.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That's great. Yeah, that was episode 72, I think. Yeah.
Nice. So 72 episodes later.
Damn. That's great work, bro.
I also wasn't here for all 72.
Wolf stepped in a few, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. I think he did
He's probably at Magic right now.
Is he?
Probably. I didn't see him last week.
Hanging out, James.
Okay.
Big Wolf. Love that guy.
You want to go through these other ones?
Yeah, what else we got?
Okay. Well, we got more Mayweather right now. Just here we get back again. Okay.
Let's just roll this is
your.
Yeah. What is this? Yeah, I saw this. I saw this article and I thought it was pretty funny. The title says, "Everything is offensive. Here are Canada's other politically incorrect place names." So this is because Ontario teachers want to strip Sir John A. McDonald's name from schools.
I feel like this is one of those Wikipedia things where it says Ontario teachers.
And
but
they don't
how
specify.
Many?
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah, it's just like one
is
guy
it like
spoke up
5?
at a staff room
or is it
meeting. Yeah,
1,000. And even if it's 1,000,
this looks like legit. Like a union is actually stepping up.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
But just for people that may not know,
Teachers Federation of Ontario.
Sir John A. MacDonald, father of Confederation, but he was also, quote, and this is what they reasoned, the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario called him, quote, the architect of genocide against Indigenous peoples.
Probably true.
Now, they're not wrong, obviously. It says here, MacDonald has a pretty dismal record on Indigenous relations, but if Canada's going to be pulled down every name associated with uncomfortable aspect of history, the purge has just begun. So look at this. McGill University. That's a pretty famous university in the world.
Allegedly.
James McGill was a particular successful fur trader who founded the university that now hosts a charming statue of him near its front gates, as well as by his grave. McGill also owns 6 African slaves. Do we have more people out here watching? Go to our street cam for a sec. Hey, y'all. How you doing? Hilarious. Let's go back to the outrage.
Yeah.
So McGill owns 6 African slaves. Okay.
Yeah, unique in his time, I'm sure.
Pretty, like 6 slaves. That's not an accident.
Not normalizing. Yeah. Just saying.
You didn't inherit it.
Yeah.
You didn't inherit 1 or something. You know, like that's pretty awful, right? But hey, he's celebrated. He's got his own university. No one says anything about that. What else we got? Moving down. British Columbia, the entire province, one of Canada's most left-leaning provinces, also has its most blatantly colonial name.
It's funny that we spelled Columbia wrong.
That is true. The Columbia part is derived from Christopher Columbus. I didn't know that, did you? Who had barely finished discovering the New World, quote unquote, before he started kidnapping indigenous Cubans. The British part, meanwhile, is a vestige of the province's
I never
days.
got this one. This part I read this article a bit, and this part
let me read it so they know. Like the British part is a vestige of the province's days as a far-flung British colony. The BC flag even includes a giant sun as a nod to the maxim that the sun never sets on the British Empire.
But like
you don't get that?
No, I get it, but like okay, the first part of this paragraph, Christopher Columbus,
who's a pretty big piece
of shit. Yeah, for sure. But then it's like the British Empire. I'm like, yeah, I guess they're bad, but like, where are we? How far are we taking this now?
Yeah,
which I know that's the point of the article.
Exactly.
But this is simply just a naming thing of
I completely agree.
An empire, not of.
And that's the thing. People are acting like here's what I don't like. I don't like the disingenuous representation that like colonialism was like they showed up and they ruined a utopia or something like that. It's like it was fucked when they showed up and then they carved a place for it, literally, which is not great. I'm just saying they did. Go up to
you got one on.
There's another one there.
There's a bunch.
What's this one? Well, let's get off capitals. Was there another person? Wilfrid Laurier. Oh man. So he's on the 5, right? The blue one. Yeah. So Wilfrid Laurier.
It's the blue human.
Wilfrid Laurier.
One of the Blue Men Group.
Famously said that in the ethnic mix of Canada, quote, there is no longer any family here but the human family. Well, that's pretty nice, right? But he was also remarkably selective about who got to join that family.
What about families of ducks?
He opposed Indo-Canadian immigration to Canada, reasoning that they couldn't handle the cold. Jesus. Laurier also raised the Chinese head tax. Oh, my God. And he saw it as a righteous thing for Canada to settle land taken from, quote, savage nations.
Fair enough.
That's
not fair enough.
Pretty hard to defend that $5. Bell Canada. Oh, yeah. Here we go. So this is like a pretty major corporation. Now, this is, okay, of everyone so far, I think the university would probably be the last one to change. I think the corporation might be, like, you could, in theory, pressure a corporation to do something.
You think Bell?
I just say, like,
sure.
Try argue with the university. There's enough intelligence over there that they could probably walk you out of your argument. Here's the thing. Bell Canada. Right. Bell Canada, with a dear wife and mother, it was Alexander Graham Bell's research into hearing devices that would profoundly influence his invention of the telephone. But he had also had eugenist leanings, particularly his fear that the hearing impaired would have children and form a kind of deaf fifth column, complete with their own secret language. Now that is...
I'd like to talk to our buddy MacDonald about this fifth column here. Maybe that should be our fourth topic.
Okay, so we have Sandy Hook for Kyle McDonald.
And we got Charleston. We've got my wonder about how you're not going to be deleted from humanity for knowing too much.
And the fifth one will now be the fifth column. That makes so much sense. Okay, let's not forget that. Good thing we recorded it. Okay, so although Bell never considered mandatory controls on human breeding, which is what eugenics
that's pretty
is.
Good.
Yeah. He did press for governments to take steps against what he called the, quote, formation of a deaf variety of the human race, unquote.
What?
So this whole fifth column thing is he thinks that they would breed enough genetically that there would be another race of humans.
What is this society supposed to do?
I think...
Oh, against.
Yeah, he's against, eugenics, right? Like he's...
No, I understand. That's
selective breeding and things like that.
I misread it. Yeah. Oh, weird.
What's this? Anything named... Oh, this will make people upset. Anything named after the famous 5. The famous 5 are a group of Alberta women. Oh. What?
Nothing.
What did you say?
Curlers.
Curlers.
I assume there's like a curling
Sure,
team.
Yeah. Like who's the skip, basically. The famous 5 are a group of Alberta women who spearheaded a 1929 legal appeal to have women recognized as legal persons, quote, in Canada. Between them, there's at least a baker's dozen of schools, streets, and libraries named in their honor, but as energetic activists, they also embraced a host of contemporary causes that seem wrong-headed or even evil by modern standards. This included eugenics, prohibition, bans on non-white immigration, and the criminalization of marijuana.
Eugenics is always a tough one.
That was a very popular...
Yeah.
That was as popular as right now as legalizing weed.
It's like loosely coming back because we have the power to do it now more, right?
Which is really crazy because now we can actually do it and people are like, we can't get into this. In Star Trek, they have the eugenics wars, which is a major component before Starfleet was invented. Yeah, very crazy stuff. But you look at that. Look at those list of names. You made a good point there. How far back do you go? How far back do you go before you have to say, like, look, okay, I think we need to recognize that pretty much everyone has bad aspects to them, but we can learn from their mistakes.
That wasn't really my point to that.
It wasn't?
No, mine was just like, oh, you're called British Columbia because the British Empire. You're like, yeah that's the name.
It's founded it.
It's like that's the name. I just don't have it's to me the point wasn't made very well there. Like, sure, that's true. The British Empire.
I'll admit the article
did have it.
Wasn't chock full of information.
No.
But it
could be argued it was.
It starts this conversation though.
Clickbaity.
It's very clickbaity.
Yeah.
That's why I got sucked in.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that. But I was like,
Internet
I know what I'll do. I'll
clickbait.
repurpose it on our podcast, and they won't be able to do anything about it.
Nationalpost.com.
National Post. Go ahead, check it out.
Ottawa Citizen.
It's free on airplanes. That's how much they sell. Peace. I just want to say this though. There's got to be a fucking degree, a common sense limit that you have to stop, because this idea that like everything we've named has to be stricken and erased from history because of the mistakes of that person in their lifetime. I don't know how
I think it also goes to maybe our own perception of history a little bit. Like they would renaming things is not unusual.
No,
right?
Not at all.
Like normally you come into a place and you're like, what's it called? Anyway, fuck you. It's called this. It's called Chrysanthemum because my name is Chris and I'm running this shit now. And everyone's like, sure, whatever. We just got to get on with our fucking lives. And so like holding the names of things are not really that important. And I think we might, because we...
Well, in some cases, I
don't know.
There's something I read once where there's a generation of people in Russia where you were born in, I might be fucking up the third name, but you would have been born in Leningrad, went to school in Stalingrad, and died in, I don't know what the fuck it is now. It changed again. Mm-hmm. But like, think about that. Like a Vancouver changed its name.
Putingrad.
Is it Putingrad?
No, it's not. I'm just joking.
I don't think it's Putingrad. But like that idea that like if we were in Vancouver, you could be
I mean, born. Vancouver is just his fucking name.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's Sir Vancouver, right? Is that?
Yeah, I don't know maybe the full thing, but yeah, it's like
Sir
something Vancouver. Yeah.
He was like, maybe we could Google that, figure out who the fuck that guy is.
Our city's namesake.
Yeah, Sir Vancouver.
I think he's an explorer.
Let's see what his name is. Explorer. George Vancouver.
Oh, yeah.
Captain George Vancouver was a British officer of the Royal Navy. He's best known for his expedition, which explored and charted North America's northwestern Pacific coast regions, including the coast of Alaska, British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. Look at that guy's ma.
I hate... Anyway.
Yeah, I know. You do your best, actually.
No, because you got to do that's like never...
Is that a signature? That's crazy.
You got to do like this, like disable media viewer.
Oh, gross.
Then when you click, you're all good. You can click.
Thank you very much at home for bearing with us for audio-only listeners. The way this guy looks, though, he looks like cool. How come every white guy back then looked like that?
It's because they're all the same white guys drawing them.
Oh, that's it,
that's
right?
That's not the truth.
No,
that's
Jesus.
Just dumb. That's just dumb.
For a moment, I was like, that's a great theory.
Some asshole's notion.
He drew them that way. Yeah, that's really funny.
Well, there's a Mount
When did he die?
When?
1798. So we're talking
4 years after his expedition.
Like, come on, son.
40.
Wow.
He lived a life.
Yeah, he lived a long, dedicated life.
Yeah, he probably has a reason. He probably has a notable death.
He probably had salt water in his veins. This guy. Think about this. He used to jump on a wooden boat.
Oh, I was way wrong. He died on my birthday, though.
Oh, he did. May 10th.
Yeah.
Less than 3 years after completing his voyages.
No official death.
1798 he died. That's fucking crazy. No official cause of death was stated as the medical records pertaining to Vancouver were destroyed.
Classic.
That sounds like Kyle McDonald needs to get a phone call. Maybe he got close to the truth.
Okay.
Let's get down with this. Okay, hold on. One doctor named John Naish claimed Vancouver died from kidney failure, while others believed it was by riot.
It's probably just by riot.
That's pretty interesting.
Weird.
You must be a motherfucker, though, for them to name a whole place after you, right? Like a whole city?
Yeah, you don't... It's not a thing that's super common.
Crazy. It's very, very crazy.
Like for average people.
Yeah, you have to jump on a wooden boat across the world.
Yeah, and lead the boat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't just be pulling sails. You have to be the guy.
Yeah.
That's another thing, too.
Always a guy, too.
How many of those guys get to, like Columbus, we talked about him earlier, how many of those guys get to claim credit for something that, like, some poor fuck had to, like, just every day waking up, hauling nets, hauling sails, folding sails, jumping, climbing up on, if I have a black flag, Assassin's Creed 4 has taught me anything. Climbing to
Which it has taught you everything.
Everything I know about sailing. If it's taught me anything, going to the cat's or crow's nest.
It's dangerous, man.
At the very top.
It's dangerous.
They used to do that.
Yeah, man.
How about this?
You ever watch Horatio Hornblower?
hold on. Is that the
A&E show?
Oh,
it's also C.F. Forster, like excellent novels. I had not read them.
Wasn't Master and Commander? Is that Russell Crowe?
That is Russell Crowe.
Master and Commander is based on Hornblower, isn't it?
I don't know.
He's a very famous captain, I believe.
Yeah, but I think that's a very specific. I think that's a different thing. Because I think Hornblower is like about Nelson.
You know what? Somehow
stuff.
I don't believe you. The way the conviction you left that last syllable. I don't know. You made me
it's because I don't like committing to things I don't have absolute firm knowledge on.
That's why I'm like, hey, come on the show and
spout out some bullshit.
Yeah, I'm like, are you ready for this to become real? Because this is going to be on the internet forever. Ready? What was the? Do we have another article? Look up something else.
It was similar to the last one. You really want to dive in?
I don't know if we have to have it. Oh, yeah, actually we do, because okay, so I saw this conversation going online earlier today. Now this article is from February 27th. I couldn't find the article that was referenced today, but the article says the headline: America, stop using the word savage.
Canada's fine, so don't worry.
Yeah, Canada, you can do whatever you want. This person from Stillwater, Oklahoma, land of progressive thought. You aren't being a badass, you were being a racist. I have to say, this is a word I use a lot. I don't use it in the context of racism ever.
Can I just comment on how shitty the internet is? I have 1/3 of the screen left
because of social media.
Fucking bullshit.
Wait, but what if you wanted to share or tweet or comment? Apparently,
God,
that's really shitty. The 1/3.
Like screen. You just go down. It's like no.
That's just poor coding. Look at this though. Savage is a derogatory term that was used and is still used to describe Native Americans. However, savage is a new slang term to mean badass or cool and violent. However, this must stop. We must stop using words that were and are used to describe in a demeaning and derogatory way people of different races and ethnicity. Now, I gotta say, right there immediately, I fucking hate the tone of this article immediately. Well, I hate the way that they're telling me what I have to do.
If
we must stop.
Is savage, it's tough to say here, and I don't know.
Who's our author? Show me the name. Morgan Taylor.
No, I just wonder, they didn't invent the term for them. Anyway, them.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like savage meant uncivilized. But
yeah. For example, in this Byzantine show, he kind of talks a little bit about the word barbarian. Yeah. And use it it's in their terms, it's simply to describe non-Roman.
Yeah. Anyone outside the walls,
it was just non-Roman. So he's like, yeah, they're barbarians by that definition.
Like wildlings.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're an unclassified community.
Anyway, I feel like we're defending something that we should
No, because here's the thing. There's a false
Anyway, we should keep going with this.
Yeah. So then the article goes on to try and make an equivalency with the N-word and how that's a very derogatory word, obviously. But it's weird that they're trying to, it has been turned into a slang term that should be ended, is what they say. Yes, I understand rappers, music industry, and Hollywood use this term, and they make it feel like society's okay to use it too, but you got to stop using this word. I got to tell you, this kind of shit is it just feels like we're tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. We need to fucking get on top of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. Look at this paragraph. The word savage is racist, plain and simple, just like the term redskin. Okay, redskin, pretty fucking racist, I have to say.
Yeah.
But there's no other context. I couldn't be like, man,
they came up with that one.
Yeah, dude, I just destroyed you in Battlefield. It was so great. I red-skinned you. No. But I could say I savaged you, and you'd be like, fuck you, buddy. You'd have to take it. You know what I mean? But, yeah, no, what I'm saying.
But I mean, okay, some words are unacceptable. For example, when is an easy one in this same term with gaming terminology is the use of the word rape to describe a thing.
I raped you. I raped you, yeah.
When that was it's not good anymore. It's not cool. It never was good.
No, it was never
good. And
I
think we've all collectively, hopefully, learned our lesson that's just unacceptable.
Yeah. Dane Cook has a great bit about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever
anyway, no, I haven't. But I mean, it's that's one where I'm like, yep, you got me. You got me on in high school, I definitely said that. I definitely did.
100% said
and
that.
I look back and I'm like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, that's a main difference. But see, if you were standing here saying, I have the right to say that, I'd be like,
Yeah, no, I think that'd be bad.
So this person in the article, though, they're probably going to stand on that same ground and say, that's why you can't say savage. It's like, you know what? If I walked up to a native person and called them a savage,
you're an asshole.
I'm a complete asshole. I should be punched, much in the context of what we were talking about earlier.
Sure, yeah.
That's a justifiable punch. Absolutely. But if I say, wow, did you watch Conor versus Floyd this weekend? Conor's a fucking savage when he fights, man. So good. I love watching him. Mm-hmm. You can't be like,
oh, are you holding a tomahawk?
It's racist. It's so racist. You got to change your life, bro. No, it's boycott him. Take down Intergalactic Interviews. Fuck you forever. How about that? Like, I seriously get pretty fed up when I hear about people taking...
You make fun of immortals?
Yeah, making fun of gods.
No, like forever. Immortals.
What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Jesus Christ. This is a pretty heavy episode.
Yeah, you've definitely...
Me. Yeah, I did, actually.
I don't know why I encouraged you.
You were like, say what you feel today, man. Go in.
Tell you what. Say that. I would never say that to you.
You said, you passed me a button, and you're like, this one's hot. Just press the button. It's a hot button issue. Whatever you want to do. And I was like, are you sure we should talk about this? It's usually a pretty light show. And you're like, let's bring up all the major components of racism, language police. Let's get real serious. And I was like, Chris Martin, when I invited you to come do this show 72 episodes ago, I was waiting for you to step up like this and just give... some real direction. Yeah. And I feel much better now.
So now there's a record of me being a garbage face, probably. I'm sure I said something.
Oh, right. That's right. You definitely said some pretty inflammatory things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, do you remember when you defended Sir John A. MacDonald?
It's the greatest man ever. $10.
Those people are just sensitive. Fuck them, No, seriously, though. I don't know.
He was a bar fighter, though.
He's a badass. He was a savage.
I knew. I was like, he's doing it.
See,
I was waiting.
Here's one time where I don't think you can call him a savage because he had such a negative view on Native people. He was pretty. Yeah, even if it was politically aligned with the times.
Yeah,
you have to still be like, I don't think I can call him a savage. I think I think we have to leave it a redskin. Okay, moving away.
Oh, look at this guy. What's he got out there?
Here we got
cleaning supplies.
Yeah, it's getting dark out there. Let's see. What time we got? Rock up?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about time to rock up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're so kind, we love it if you leave us a review. If you like the show. If you don't like the show, leave us a review. Let us know how you feel.
When you don't like the show.
When you don't like it, just stop the show right away and tell us what you don't like. I would love to know that. This episode, I'm sure, is going to just be all positive. And the idea that we just like to have fun, please keep that in mind when you 1-star the shit out of us. Okay, now that being said, Chris Martin, you're amazing. How can people follow you online if they're so interested?
It's just not a thing I would do.
Oh, I see.
Or can do, really. I mean, you could, I guess. But
okay. That's pretty good 72 episodes rocking this joke. I'm pretty happy with that.
It persists.
It has legs. It definitely does. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're so inclined, please follow the podcast. We're on YouTube and Stitcher and iTunes, and we're available everywhere where fine podcasts are found. And that being said, we love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, we're going to try and go live for y'all. And
really?
Maybe,
news to me.
Yeah, I just threw that at
C-Mart
right now. We'll try something out next week, and hopefully it works out. But yeah, we will see you all next week. We love you. Bye.